Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have two entrepreneurs on the show today. And everybody that watches the show, that we always talk about health. I mean, we love it. I mean, whenever we can get experts on the field talking about health and medicine, we always jump at the chance. And when we saw what Dr. Krista Imre and Dr. Adam Dombrowski are doing, the co-founders of Nature Medicine Clinic are doing at their practice, we had to invite them on the show. I mean, when we talk about it, what we're really talking about is really a natural way to be healthy. I mean, there's no better way. I mean, that's really what it's all about. And I tell you, my Uncle Stanley, my dear Uncle Stanley, may he rest in peace, always used to say to me, Andy, if you don't have your health, everything else is a fake. And I tell you, as I've gotten older, I see so many people that are now starting to have some health problems. And every day you wake up and you don't have a health problem, you thank your lucky stars, you count your blessings, you move forward with gratitude. But Dr. Krista and Dr. Adam, I mean, they've made a complete commitment in their lives to helping so many people at the Nature Medicine Clinic. It's awesome to have them on the show. Dr. Krista, Dr. Adam, welcome to the DotCom magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you, Andy. Absolutely.
It's great to have you both on the show. Here we go. Let's pull the lens back first. Dr. Adam, let's go to you first. I have so many questions. Let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet. Tell us about the clinic. Tell us about the practice, and then we're going to get into it.
Yes, sir. So we started about 4 years ago, and our approach to health is very different than what most people have probably tried before. We take a holistic approach, a more natural approach, as you said. And more than that, what we're really interested in is not just treating your symptoms or helping you with your concerns in a natural way. We're interested in more than that. We're interested in helping you become fully independent with your health and to fully regain control over your health and your life, because we realize just what you said, Andy, that without your health, what else can you really have? If you don't feel well, if you don't have your health, then you're not able to fully live life with your loved ones and to do the things that you want to do. And that's why we work the way that we've kind of evolved. And we also partner with a couple hundred other doctors actually in developing this new approach. And it's been phenomenal. We've seen people's lives just transform week after week after week.
Yeah, it's incredible. The testimonials are incredible. So many people getting such great help. And of course, Dr. Krista, when we think about it, one thing that I love about your and Adam's approach is that you really believe that people should have the power to control their health. In other words, that the body has the ability really to heal itself. And I love the fact that you approach it from the inside out, from the outside in. You say, hey, we want to get people feeling good before they get feeling bad. So let's talk about that approach. I love it so much.
Yeah, so important to really figure out what the root causes of what's going on with your health, right? Symptoms are just a sign. They're just saying, hey, something's off here. We got to figure out what's actually going on. And when you go to a conventional doctor and you get a medication, say, or a surgery, you're really just putting a Band-Aid on that symptom. You're not getting to the bottom of it. Whereas your body, it really wants to heal itself. And if you can remove the obstacles, the things that are in the way of getting healthy, then your body will do what it needs to do to get there. You just have to live supportively along with it.
Yeah, I love it, Dr. Krista. Let's talk about it. You offer a free consultation. I mean, it's really remarkable. You have a book coming out that's going to be unbelievable. But Dr. Krista, let's talk about it. What types of people reach out to you and say, we've heard about what you and Adam are doing at the Nature Medicine Clinic. We need some help. Could you share some sort of highlights of the types of people and their ailments and the way they're thinking who are reaching out to the clinic right now?
Yes. So we see everything and everyone pretty much, I would say. What we often get is the people who are very frustrated. They've been to a lot of doctors, they're not getting the answers, or they go to their doctor and they just say, everything looks normal, you're all good, but the person doesn't actually feel good. So we get a lot of those cases. We work a lot with autoimmunity, with gut health, with hormone balancing, stress, anxiety. Those are big ones.
I love it. Of course, growing up, I mean, I'm super old. I mean, I'm older than, paint on a, 67-year-old building. I grew up and it was all about relying on, health insurance and relying on medications and procedures. But Dr. Adam, you have a different way. You have a different thought process that's very refreshing. Let's talk about that.
100%. So most people do believe that their health insurance is there to save them. But what most people don't realize is that your health insurance is like your car insurance, where your car insurance is your car insurance there to help fill up your tank with gas or to give the car a nice new paint job? No, of course not, right? It's only there for when you get into a collision, into an accident, to repair the damage. And so similarly, that's what your health insurance is for, right? So if you have to use your health insurance, that means it's too late. We don't want to have to wait until you need to use your health insurance. And we want to get ahead of the ball and be proactive with your health. We don't want to be reactive and wait for something to go wrong to then fix it, which is really the whole issue with the conventional model. I mean, there's $4 trillion spent every year in healthcare, and 90% of that is spent on chronic diseases, all the conditions that we help people with we help them to reverse it, right? But 70% of all the deaths are still caused by those top chronic diseases. So there's all this reliance on health insurance and on medication, which just treats symptoms. Is it really paying off? All this time, money, and energy that we're spending, it seems not. It's really unacceptable because your life hangs in the balance. And so we have to take a different approach. We have to be more proactive. We have to teach you so that you can become more independent with your health in your life, so that you can really become your own doctor. Because in the end, we don't heal you. A lot of people believe that the doctors heal the patients, but that is not the case. So your body does the healing. We just have to figure out what it needs that it's been missing and what those obstacles are that we can remove, those obstacles to healing, so that your body can do the thing it's meant to do, which is to feel your best and to feel optimally well and thrive.
I love it. What a great approach. This is unbelievable when you hear this, because you hear, you watch TV, sometimes you see all the medication and all the prescription and the pharma coming on, is your leg shaking and do you have a pain in your thumb? And the way in which you and Krista have really designed this practice, this clinic, is really taking a look at people in a much different way. So, Krista, let's talk about it. Dr. Krista, let's talk about it. What is the approach? Are we looking at nutrition? Are we looking at activity, lifestyle? Are we looking at their gut? What are some of the main things that you're looking at with your clients to get them on the path to, having a great life?
Yes, exactly. You kind of nailed it. All of those things are included, right? We do what we call the 5 pillars of health. We're going to utilize those. So yes, that's going to include nutrition, but nutrition doesn't mean, a blanket diet, like everyone should do keto or everyone should do paleo. We have to figure out what works for your body specifically, because everyone is unique. Someone with a thyroid issue and someone else with a thyroid issue might need to be eating different foods. So we really have to sort that out. So that's looking at nutrition. We work on detoxification because our bodies need to be detoxing every single day. And most of us aren't doing the things we need to really support that. Hormones can get out of balance because we're not detoxing them out properly. Many of us have bowel issues, right? And that has to do with our gut. Our gut is where our immune system is housed and also where our neurotransmitters and our hormones are made. So if any of that is blocked up, it can cause issues there. We also are going to look at energy balance, right? So that involves sleep, that involves energy throughout the day, that involves movement, exercise. We're going to look at hormones because there are over 300 hormones in the body. It's not just reproductive hormones. There's thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones. They really control everything. They're the big drivers. So important to take a look at them as well.
Yeah, it's so important. We think about it. And what I'm hearing, Dr. Krista, from you is every person that comes in, of course, they make a phone call, they get this free 15-minute, consult, which is just remarkable that you offer that. They get a personalized plan. So every single person is different. Everybody's inside is different. Everybody's mind and cells and blood and gut is different. So it seems like to me, without being eloquent in the way in which I'm describing it, Dr. Adam, is that you take the individual person and you put together a program that's specifically designed for them. Is that the way it works?
That's right. We put together a comprehensive health program that really involves all the tools that you need to get all the way to your health goals and to be fully independent by the end of that period. And that looks different for everybody because everybody comes from a different place. We see people who have been taking medications for 20 years for 5 different chronic diseases, and they're just, in a few years, they're a few years away from being in a wheelchair, really. On the other end of the spectrum, people who are just looking to optimize their health and just be as healthy as possible so they can get pregnant or because they're an athlete or whatever the case may be, and then everywhere in between. So everyone is beginning from a different place. And so we have to take that into account and your unique lifestyle, everything that's unique about your mind, body, spirit, and then put together this plan using all these elements that Dr. Krista is talking about. And we actually roll all of those into a system because 94% of all failure is due to not having a system. So most people, when they fail with their health, they're just not getting the results that they're looking for. It's not because they didn't put the effort in. It's not because they're not trying. It's usually because they just didn't have the right plan, the right system, and they didn't have the support, the mentorship to help put that in place and put their energy in the right direction to actually achieve results. So we have our system, what Dr. Krista went through, we call it the 5 pillars of health. That's what she mentioned. It's nutrition, detox, energy balance, hormones, and most importantly is mentorship, is having that guidance. So, because a lot of people will try to spin their wheels on their own and they'll put effort in. As I said, right, effort typically isn't the issue, but it's just not putting it in a productive manner. And no kidding, most people are left feeling frustrated and discouraged as a result and feeling lost. And that's where it's really helpful to find a mentor, an expert who can guide you down the path to help you cut through all of the information out there, because there's so much information that we're drowning in the age of the internet now, which is great. There are pros and cons to that, but it can be difficult when you're struggling with your health, and inextricably valuable to have somebody show you the way, to show you what information is true and what information applies to you specifically.
Yeah, I love it. It's so important. And like you mentioned, one of the things that you've done at your practice that people rave about is you've taken all this information and you're simplifying it for your clients so they actually understand what's going on and that they can actually follow the 5-point plan. Krista, let's talk about it a little bit. When I was a kid, we used to ride our bikes around the neighborhood, and back then, we would build forts and we would be exercising, and I'd go out and I'd come back after dinner. My parents, were okay with me running around with my friends and riding my bike and, having so much fun. Now I look at today and I see these young kids. I can't believe, I have to say it out loud. They're overweight. I just can't believe it. And now I see these overweight people and I see a lot of sugar. And I stopped eating sugar many years ago. How important is sort of the idea that we have to get these young kids off on the right start so that when they get older, they have health? How important is that starting in life to have the first part of your life as a kid done right?
It's huge. Not just physically and physiologically, right? Also your mental space, your environment, everything that you're exposed to as a kid ultimately shapes who you are later in life and how you act with different folks. So important. Sugar is one of those big things that's part of our culture because it's advertised, right? Cereals, yogurts, everything has sugar in it because we're addicted, and that makes us buy more. So that's part of the great thing of having a mentor is we can really sort through, okay, this is not real health information. This is actually an advertisement by the dairy industry, for example, right? So sometimes we need to help people with that because they just don't know what is true, what is not. There's so much out there that really confuses people.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you said that because it's confusing. And sometimes I think they make it confusing on purpose to kind of mix us up a little bit. So I love what you just said, Dr. Krista. That's interesting. Now, Dr. Adam, let's get into some nuts and bolts. We have some people watching the show, the entrepreneurs watching. Maybe they're a little stressed out, maybe they're not getting as much activity as they would like. Maybe they're not eating as well as they should. Could you give some basic guidelines, Adam, Dr. Adam, just a few pointers for the, entrepreneurs watching the show that want to do some immediate changes in their life to make them get on the path to better health?
Absolutely. So this is exactly what our book goes through. It's called Your Time to Thrive, 5 Keys to Optimizing Your Health at Any Age. And we start out with just, for each of these pillars that we named, those 5 major pillars for your health, some basic recommendations. And so probably the easiest thing to start doing was regarding energy balance. So working with sleep, stress, and exercise. And so just starting with sleep and stress management, because you can tie a deficiency of sleep or an excess of stress to nearly any health condition. Okay, I studied neuroscience in college and saw how the brain is really the master organ for everything else in your body. So the way that you feel is heavily determined by the state of balance in your brain, in your nervous system. So if you're going to be able to feel well, you first got to get to sleeping well. And so sleep at night, right? Some sleep habits, what we call sleep hygiene habits to instill in your life, things like shutting off the TV or exposure to any bright lights, a phone, TV, computer, even bright lights in the room. To instead install a dimmable switch, maybe, or just some candlelight, and shutting off loud noises too, or listening to music, TV, just starting to help your brain calm down about 60 minutes before bed to decrease the exposure, all that stimulation. So you allow space and time for your body to start relaxing, right? When there's that extra light, your body's release of melatonin, the sleep hormone that makes you start feeling sleepy, that gets thrown out of whack. And so that's how you can allow the natural rhythm of your hormones and your brain to take root, take effect, is just by starting to allow yourself to calm down before bed. That also means not eating, right, within at least a couple hours of sleep, especially sugar and caffeine. So we're looking at sleep, so you can actually sleep well, fall asleep, stay asleep, and feel refreshed when you wake up. A lot of people just are dragging when they wake up. They hit the coffee right away, 3 cups, 4 cups, more later in the day, and you're just really squeezing your adrenal glands at that point and doing yourself more harm than good. So we got to figure out how to treat the cause here. Let's think back. And usually it always comes back to the lifestyle. People often think that there's many different potential issues when it comes to their health. And it can be sort of, complex on that level, which is why it's useful to have a professional to guide you. But at the same time, typically everything comes back to one thing, your lifestyle. And so how you're living from day to day, the decisions you make every day to determine whether your health gets better or worse.
I love it. And of course, this idea
every day.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, this idea that we need a mentor. We need people that understand us and care about us. And a mentorship doesn't do any good unless the people care about you. And one thing that you and Krista have become known for is really caring about the people you work with. I mean, they become part of your family. And, you're available to them and you love seeing them thrive, and you love getting all the notes and the text messages and the letters, to the nature medicine clinic saying, hey, my life is doing so well. Thank you so much. And then, you continue paying it forward. So let's talk about that, Krista, a little bit, Dr. Krista, because you also have a team. You also have people that work at your company. I mean, you've put together a great team. We've looked at their bios, and, they're as interested in the health of your clients as you and the doctor are. So let's talk about that. How important is it for you, Krista, to have a great team surrounding you at the clinic?
So important. Just like every facet of your life, you need support, right? You cannot do everything on your own. So we have a very comprehensive program in terms of who we hire, and has to do with, their drive, their passion, who they are as a person. But we also make sure that everyone in our clinic has gone through any of the programs that we do, because we want to make sure that everyone understands what it feels like to go through a health transformation and to really understand that so they can better help others, right? So that's a big thing that we do. Everyone on our team is well versed in all of the components and they've experienced it themselves, which makes them unique and much more able to help anyone who's in need.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's so cool. And of course, when I think about it, Dr. Adam, I think you're one of the foremost experts in acupuncture. I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I've tried some acupuncture and it's worked for me in my past. How do you see acupuncture coming into play with regard to your clinic? I mean, are you getting some great results and what does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah, I did acupuncture for the first few years of our practice and saw amazing results when it comes to pain management, migraines, headaches, tension, stress. That's really the bread and butter of acupuncture. And so I do love doing it, and it's very relaxing, not only for the clients, but for myself as well. It's a very therapeutic environment. And if some people are hesitant, right? Some people have a little bit of that fear of needles, but it's typically very painless. So you know yourself, you've done it, right? Just most people are surprised by how relaxing and therapeutic it does feel. And so at the moment, our practice is 100% remote, and we're able to do everything that we need to do with our comprehensive health programs. At some point in the future, when we do have an in-person clinic, we will be incorporating the acupuncture again. It's not a necessary component to get people all the way to where that they want to be, but it's a nice addition. It's a nice support, sort of like massage.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, with that training and all that education came additional information that you're using, of course, in the virtual clinic that you currently have. So I'm sure all that training is helping you, further make your clients better and feel good and be more healthy. Let's talk about a little bit, Dr. Krista, because one thing, again, that comes to mind, and I have to bring it up, is activity and, getting out, moving your body. And, I took a long walk yesterday. I can't tell you how great I felt when I came home. How important, do you feel as part of your 5-step program, I'll call it, is moving and getting that body sort of engaged?
Movement is super crucial. It's really an important aspect. However, there are a lot of people who come to us who are very depleted in various ways. And often, especially in terms of weight loss, people are pushing with the exercise and not necessarily getting the results that they want. And that's often because they're too depleted. Like Dr. Adam said, they're squeezing their adrenal glands, which actually causes more stress hormones to come out, and that causes us to gain more weight. So sometimes we actually have to step back. We have to do a little more calming type movements first, work ourselves up in terms of replenishing all of our essential nutrients, our hormones, everything like that. And then we can really get back into exercising. But there's not a one-size-fits-all exercise program. Again, everyone's unique, and it really just depends where you're at in your health journey.
That's awesome. Now, let's talk about it, because you both have a very unique reason why you're so passionate about what you do. So I think these are great stories. Let's talk about it first. Adam, tell us why your personal story and journey has been so impactful on what you're doing at the Nature Medicine Clinic.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason why I do what I do today is because I've struggled in the past as well. I mean, everybody struggles, right? For me, when I was growing up, I had crippling social anxiety, really. So I would just walk around the world and really just feel so stuck and really locked into my own head. I always felt like I was kind of in jail in my own mind. And I was afraid to talk to people. I was afraid to approach anyone I didn't know. I couldn't even order pizza from the cashier at a pizza shop. And that's when I knew that something was wrong here. I knew I should be able to do something as simple as that. And when I realized that I couldn't, I was really hit me. And I was even more frustrated that not only was I frustrated at the way I felt and feeling so anxious and afraid all the time. I mean, a moment like that, right? I would have rather strapped the bungee cord to my leg and jumped off a cliff or picked up a snake or something rather than walk up to someone I didn't know. So I knew something was wrong, but I also knew I just didn't know how to control it. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't have any answers. I didn't have any hope. And so this continued on. I slowly was able to evolve. However, as I went to college, I studied neuroscience, right, the brain, and how our brain really is plastic. It responds to changes in our lifestyle. And I was finally able to feel like I wasn't stuck forever, right? Like I thought maybe this is just how things are going to be. I had accepted that this is just going to be my life. But I started to see how maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe there is hope. And this continued on into medical school, where I discovered naturopathic medicine. Right, I was going to go the conventional medical doctor route, but decided against it because I had a lot of family members who were taking the medications and doing the procedures, and they were not doing well. And so fortunately, and actually one of my neuroscience classes, a friend told me about naturopathic medicine. And that was a very holistic approach to medicine, still involving clinical diagnostic sciences, training to become a primary care physician in certain states. But it also incorporated these other incredibly important elements of not just treating the symptom, but treating the root cause, looking at the whole person together, mind, body, spirit, really seeking to empower you with knowledge so you can be independent with your health. And that was everything that I was missing personally growing up. And so I know that when I went to school to see all these people, seeing patients in the clinic, I finally realized that it wasn't just me who was struggling, right? Because whether you're struggling with mental, emotional disease like depression, anxiety, or physical disease like blood pressure or weight, fatigue, hormonal imbalances, it's all disease. It's all on the spectrum of disease. And so that's where I realized that I could help people, and that to release themselves from the bounds of struggle and suffering that I had gone through, using this holistic approach and treating the cause. So that was a huge turning point for me, and realizing that we can have control over our health. And I know so many people who we see feel like I felt. They feel stuck or frustrated or discouraged when it comes to their approach to their health and their life. They know that there's something better out there for them, but they're wondering if they just have to accept that this is just how things are going to be. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the case, that there is a different way and there is a better way to help you truly regain control over your health and your life.
Yeah, I love it. You're unstucking people. And this story that you had when you were younger with the pizza parlor and you couldn't order a pizza, and then you get to college and you understand that the brain is malleable and you've decided to change yourself and then change others. It's a remarkable, beautiful story. And of course, Krista, you have a story as well. So I'd like to hear it because, it just really brings us inside the way in which both of you approach your clients based on your past background and experience.
Yeah. So for me, I actually never wanted to be a doctor. And that was because my whole family is made up of conventional doctors. My mom, her two sisters, their two husbands. So Christmas dinner was like trading horror stories in the emergency room. Who had the worst story? That was my upbringing. So when I started to have my own health struggles, you can imagine that I did not want to see a doctor. I was done with the doctors. But I started to have a lot of symptoms. I was gaining weight. I had acne. I wasn't having a period. I was getting bloating, all these things that you really don't want to deal with as a teenager. But I just kept pushing through, which many people do, right? We're just pushing through our symptoms because we got to get through our day. We got to take care of our kids. We got to go to school, whatever it may be. Ultimately, though, by the time I turned 18, I decided I needed to do something because things weren't getting any better. So I finally went to an endocrinologist, and she actually diagnosed me with a chronic hormonal condition called PCOS, or Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. And she had me start medications, plural, right away, right? 18 years old, I'm on daily medications. And I was type A. I was going to do what I was told. She said it was the best thing for me, but I started to get a lot of side effects. And I know that a lot of people struggle with that as well, right? You take one medication, you start getting side effects. You have to take another medication to mitigate the side effects of the first one. So I pushed through, again, pushing through, and I went back to her after 4 years, that endocrinologist, and she made no mention of me getting off of these medications. In fact, she told me, if I ever wanted to get pregnant, I would need more interventions in order for that to happen. So that was really devastating for me. That was kind of the point in my life where all I could see was a lifetime of pills. All I could see was not being in control of my body, right? I felt betrayed. I was too young for that to be happening. And so I knew something else had to be out there for me. And I searched and searched like many of us do, ultimately found a naturopathic doctor, and he spent a long time with me. In our first visit, he asked me questions I had never been asked before about my mental health, my stress, my movement, my diet, all of these things that were so crucial to my health. He really helped me understand that I was not, in fact, my condition, but I was a human being, and there were things that I could do about my health. So ultimately, I decided to be a doctor after all and go to naturopathic medical school because I find it so important for people to have the information that they really need to be able to take control of their health. And that's so much so why we are into empowerment, into education, because without that, you feel lost or you feel stuck like Dr. Adam. And that's not a place we want anyone to feel. So that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Now, Adam, let's talk about some nuts and bolts because, you have this clinic, people are reaching out to you, they're hearing about what you're doing, what it's all about. They're hearing some great testimonials, they're reading some reviews, they want to talk, they want to engage, they want to get their life back under control. Or people are saying to themselves, I want to start early. I mean, I'm feeling good, but I want to stay feeling good. So I want to take some action steps right now, right? So what does it look like? How do they engage? What does the process look like, to sort of talk to and have Dr. Krista and you as part of their overall health plan?
Yeah, that's right. So the best way to get started is to reach out to our team for a free 15-minute discovery call. And you can just dial our phone number, which is 561-571-3326. You can also find a booking link on our website, which is naturemedicineclinic.com, to book a day and time that works for you to connect with our team so that we can spend 15 minutes or just investing 15 minutes of your time so that we can get to know you and we can get to know what your concerns are. We can get to know what you tried that's worked and what you tried that hasn't worked. And then talk about what your goals are and see if we can help you. And if we feel that there's a better direction to send you in, then we will do that. And if we feel that we're a great fit for you to take that next step, then we'll get you set up for what that involves. And typically that involves sitting down with us for a 1-hour consult. So we can really in-depth get to know you. You'll fill out an intake form. So, with your medical history, all your concerns, your medications, all those things. So we can be as prepared as possible to meet with you, really learn about you, your life story, and then to develop a specific plan of action for you moving forward.
Yeah.
But the first step is really just to hop on that free 15-minute call with us so that we can get to know you and see how we can explore you and support you in your health journey moving forward.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. And you mentioned something. I'm going to bounce back to Krista about this one because, Dr. Adam says, we want to learn what didn't work for you. We want to learn the things that aren't working for you or the things that you feel maybe were detrimental to you. How important is it to get that history, Dr. Krista, so that you know what they've already tried so you can put the go forward plan together?
Yeah, I think everyone has the ability to be very intuitive about their own health, right? I will never know what it feels like to be in your body. So I think it's super important to really understand what someone has gone through, what they've tried, what they feel like has worked and hasn't worked, because it may not be the same for every person, right? With the same condition, it may be different. But it's also important just because we also want to know where you want to get to, right? So we kind of have to go through the mud of figuring out where you've been, what you're suffering with. So then we can paint the picture of what you want your life to be like. What are your goals? What are your passions? Do you want to travel? Do you want a better relationship with your spouse? Do you want to be able to run with your grandkids? Maybe it's just as simple as walking to your mailbox. Maybe that's really difficult for you. So those are all the things that we need to gather. And we do that with our intake form and in that 1-hour consultation. So we'll ask so many questions that you've never been asked before, but really should have about your health. And that's the key, is really getting to know who you are so that we can understand you as a person, not just what your condition is.
Yeah, super cool. Of course, I've cut out a certain amount of time for you today. I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time for me, but I'm keeping you a little over because I was very excited to have both of you on the show. Before I let you go, I have a couple more questions because I want to talk to Dr. Adam about entrepreneurship. You know, you've got this business. For the viewers that don't know, I think I can disclose that you and Dr. Krista are a married couple. Am I allowed to say that, or do I have to cut that out of the interview?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about entrepreneurship. So for the younger people watching the show, maybe they're hitting a roadblock or a tough time, Dr. Adam, in their particular business or their entrepreneurial journey. Let's share some insight. What's it take to get through a tough time? I mean, I would imagine you have patients that are going through a tough time that you help them get through. What about entrepreneurs? What should they do to keep on pushing to make sure that they have a positive impact from the challenges that they're currently having?
That is an excellent question. And I have two quick answers. Two, that gets right to the heart of it. One is to, like Dr. Krista was saying, the way we coach our clients is helping them to first carve out what's their vision with their life. What do they really want? Because change isn't always easy. And you have to have that clear vision for yourself of how you want your life to look, why you're doing what you're doing, so that it helps you stick through, right? It gives you that energy to stick through those tough times. It's going to happen. That's life. So one is to figure out your why. Second thing, which is huge and supremely invaluable, is to find a mentor who's already done what it is that you're trying to do. So just like our practice members, right? We serve as the mentor for them to walk them down the path toward their goals to where they want to be. Because we've done it many times before. We ourselves have coaches and business coaches to help mentor us through that same process and create the success that we're looking for. Because being an entrepreneur is no joke, as you know too, Andy. It takes, it's not for everybody, but if you have the inclination for it and that fire burning inside, it'll save you a heck of a lot of time, money, and energy to find someone, a mentor who's already done what you're trying to do, and to learn from them.
Wow, that's great advice. And for the entrepreneurs watching the show, rewind what the doctor just said. That's a great, almost master's class on entrepreneurship. I love it so much. Now, before we go, Dr. Krista, I'll go to you on this question. As a married couple, as married entrepreneurs, you're weaving in and out of your personal life and your business life. And for the entrepreneurs that aren't married to their partner, what's that like? How do you find the balance between your business as an entrepreneur and your personal life with your husband?
Yeah, it's tough. I will just say that to everyone who's out there. It's really hard to find that balance, but that's also what we're teaching, right? Our patients is how to find balance in life. So it's always a work in progress. But I think one of the biggest things for entrepreneurship in general is self-development, right? So really working on yourself, how you interact with others, whether that be your spouse or someone in your business or whoever, that's huge, right? You will only go as far in your business as you can go yourself. So you really have to work on that aspect. So that's the biggest thing I would say to help with both your business and your relationship, is really work on that self-development.
That's so good. And of course, natural medicine is really substantiated with so much clinical research and, of course, clinical experience that has just proven that it effectively improves, so many chronic and acute conditions. You two are at the forefront of helping so many clients. I'm so happy I could get you both on the show today. So first off, Krista, thank you so much for coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today. Love what you and the doctor are doing, and congratulations on your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you so much.
And of course, Dr. Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show. Keep on doing what you're doing. I think I'm going to bring you both on again and just talk about entrepreneurship, because it's just a fascinating journey that you both have, and there's so much to learn. And more than anything, what I want to thank you for is really giving back and putting your clients at the forefront of everything you do, Adam. I mean, it's just remarkable, and we need more entrepreneurs in the world like you and Krista. So thanks so much for coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Couldn't agree more, Andy. Thank you very much.